Welcome back to the show today with me, Johnny Pardo. Today, I welcome Amberly to the show. We're going to have a very enjoyable conversation, I'm sure. So, just a quick introduction to Amberly, and then I'm going to dive right into our conversation. So, Amberly is a TEDx speaker, peak performance coach, best-selling author, founder of the Unstoppable Life Mastermind, and host of the global top 1% podcast, the Amberly Lago Show. Amberly has overcome major trauma, including a horrific motorcycle accident that shattered her right leg and altered her life forever. An international speaker on joy, grit, resilience, and connection, she has shared stages with thought leaders, including Mel Robbins, Shetty, and Lewis Howes, and has spoken for multi-million-dollar companies. Amberly is the author of True Grit and Grace, Turning Tragedy into Triumph, and her newest title, Joy Through the Journey, Shift Your Mindset, Embrace the Present Moment, and Cultivate Resilience Through Life's Ups and Downs, which came out in February. So, Amberly, welcome to the show. Glad to have you, and I'm glad we can make this happen today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I just love your voice and your accent. And you make my name sound so proper. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's and great we can make the time. And if you're listening, Amberly's got a very smart background with her latest book lied out in the back, and a very cool looking plant as well. I need to get a plant. That's a podcaster trait. You reminded me.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah. I hear that's here is a common thing the other day. But yeah,
Well,
Amberly.
you know what? I'm in this office so much that I have so many plants in my office because I love nature. And I'm like, if I'm going to be inside, I may as well bring nature in with me.
Mm,
And so my husband calls my office like the nursery for all plants. Like all plants, just if they're not doing well, we put them in the office with me and they like come back thriving. But yeah, it's nice to have some plants. Got to
no,
have some plants.
good for you. Loving it. Big fan of nature also. So, Amberly, I want to kind of dive straight in a little bit about your story from the transformation you've gone to where you are now. You had your motorcycle accident, and in those cases, I would have perceived, we guess we all have different experiences, and not having gone through that myself, but in that kind of scenario, I guess there could have been every reason to be like, oh, life's really hard, and why has this happened to me, and all those kind of thoughts. But for you, you've decided to go on and make a huge impact on the world and really take steps forward, and really follow this particular path. Be really interesting just to hear a little bit about your story from that moment to where you are now, and the thought process around that that's been going through with you.
Well, thank you for asking. And when I had my motorcycle accident, I was at the height of my career in the fitness industry. I had been in the fitness industry for 26 years, and I had several trainers that I employed. I taught a certification program where I taught people how to be a trainer, get certified, and run their business. And then all of that changed in the blink of an eye.
Mm,
And you know what's so crazy is one of the first thoughts that I had when I was laying in the middle of the street. I didn't know exactly how bad the accident was, but I remember looking down at my leg once and thinking, oh gosh, this can't be good. I might have to train clients on crutches for a while. I had no idea that my femoral artery was severed. I was bleeding out. My leg was completely shattered into pieces, and that I would be in the hospital for 3.5 months and endure 34 surgeries to actually save my leg. Um, and that was one of the hardest challenges that I've been through. But honestly, what's harder is I was diagnosed with an incurable nerve disease as a result of this accident. It's called complex regional pain syndrome. And this disease is, I had a doctor tell me, well, you need to go get back in your wheelchair. You'll never work again. You'll never walk again. This is incurable. And I did not know how hard that was going to be. So I still live with constant pain. But I think what helps me get through the pain is being of service to others and helping others. And so I think that's what motivates me more than anything. I mean, honestly, I got tears in my eyes today because I had somebody reach out to me and they sent me, I'm wearing it right now. Her daughter made me bracelets. One says joy, one says unstoppable, and one says my name. If if I can touch just one person and their daughter, it's the ripple effect that we can have, and we can spread joy and a message of positivity and to never give up. And so that's what keeps me going.
Serving others. Serving others is really one of the key sources of your joy.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, even my husband will say, Amberly, you don't have to do so much. And I said, you know what? I could sit at home and stare down at my leg and look at my leg and think about all the pain that it gives me, or I could go and be of service to others and their success. And that is what keeps me going, is when you can be of service. That's the key right there.
And being of service totally can resonate as well. I've been in those places where um, it just like things have gone a bit harsh. We all go different as well, and you're a great example here that things can go the way you don't expect, and then it's just thinking about where you are and the pain, and then actually looking at others can create that huge impact sometimes on how you're feeling about life and serving others. And it just sounds like you've got a different focus as like your leg, which you could feel the pain, but actually when you redirect that focus and it's all about where you're focusing, that really helps you every single day in terms of that. Is there anything you do, like, I'm always curious with this with people, like, is there any kind of routines or things you do to work on your mind, like, every day? Because sometimes, like, being there where you're just like, right, I need to do a load of mindset work, but where do I begin? Is there anything you find helps as well as helping others?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I practice gratitude every single
Mm,
day. And I know a lot of people talk about gratitude, but there is such power in gratitude, and it is my medicine. It shifts the way that I think about life, that I think about myself, and I start my day with gratitude. So every morning I wake up, sometimes the pain wakes me up. Sometimes I get up with the alarm clock, but the first step I take, I'm in a lot of pain. And if I did not focus on gratitude, I would spiral down into negativity. And I
mm,
think that gratitude and having an accountability, like I have accountability. So I have a group of ladies, we call ourselves the God Squad. And actually, I've got two groups. I have one friend that I text every morning. Her name's Maddie. And then I have one group of ladies that I text every morning. And I call those ladies my God Squad. And we text each other 10 things that we're grateful for.
ooh,
And if I can start my day with gratitude, and then sometimes at night, the only thing I always say a prayer at night, and sometimes the only thing I say is, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, for another day sober. Because I know if I stay sober, I can get through anything.
mm,
And so I think prayer, I think gratitude, and I think one other thing that really helps me is moving my body. Like, no matter what, even if it's 10 minutes, moving. Moving your body moves your mood. And I only say this because there was a time when I started letting all these things kind of slip.
Mm.
I wasn't, I was forgetting to do my gratitude practice. I was letting the gym slide. I was not saying my prayers. And I started spiraling down. And so I think it's really important to think about what matters to you most, what are your non-negotiables, what helps you to stay um in a positive way in your purpose. And so I had to really, and that was a
Mm.
big thing about writing my new book too, was I had to get back to what I call halt, never get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And so getting back to basics, getting back to things that bring you joy is so important.
Mm. I totally, yeah, agree with finding the things that are really powerful for you. I also what you said about when things slipped a little bit, when you perhaps felt like you weren't on top of things, definitely resonate. And one thing I personally believe, and again, everyone's got their own view, is the mental workouts as important as the physical workouts. So if you stop going to the exercising in whatever form that is and don't eat well, it's not about being perfect and clean all the time. But for me, if you stop those, you're going to put on weight, your energy's going to go downhill. But mentally, I also believe in the mental workout, that if you're not training your mind, you can suddenly get caught up with life's challenges and they're going to hit you a whole lot harder. And you could look at it from a completely different lens. So I always think about the mental and the physical workout, and I don't get it right all the time. It does slip, right? Like you said, but it's just that awareness. So I love what you said there with that. Amberly,
It is so much mental and physical for sure.
I wanted to touch a little bit on, if you're open to it, what you touched on with the sobriety thing. Was that, did you have to get clean of like alcohol? Was it something else? And yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, yeah, what I discovered is addiction doesn't discriminate. I thought I was so different from so many people in my family. And after my motorcycle accident, when I could not get out of pain and I didn't have a way to process my feelings, because I realized so much of how I process things was I would run, I would exercise, and
Mm,
probably not healthy. I was probably over exercising or over, that was how I was processing my feelings. Now all of a sudden I'm stuck in a hospital bed. I could not control my pain. I was on 73 homeopathic pills a day and 11 prescription medications.
wow.
Nothing was working. I'd tried ketamine, I'd spinal block, spinal stimulator, stem cell. I mean, you name it. I was a good guinea pig for anybody that was like, I can get you out of pain. I spent thousands of dollars, um, and nothing was working. And I was never a partier or a drinker. And I remember having a glass of wine and going, wow, well, this kind of helps numb out the pain, kind of stuff down the feelings of shame I feel about the way I look with all my scars now. And I remember
Mm,
thinking, this isn't the healthiest thing to do, but if this is what I have to do to get through every day, then I guess this is what I'm going to have to do just to get through one day of pain. And one led to two, led to three, led to a whole bottle, to I had a drinking problem. And I remember going to my husband saying, I think I got a problem. And he is a retired cop. And he's like, oh, no, 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 no. You don't have a problem. I'm like, no, I think I have a problem. And the thing is, you know your truth. No
mm,
one can tell you, you know your truth. And I remember going, no, I got a problem. I need help. And I Googled 12-step recovery and went to my first meeting when my husband was at work. This is when he was working, when he was at work, and my daughter was going to be in school. So I went from sneaking my drinking to now I was sneaking going to recovery meetings. That was back in 2016. When I walked in that door, it was probably scarier than any surgery that I went through. I mean, I had to really take a good hard look at my life. But there's a gift in desperation. And I was just so desperate. I just wanted my life back. I wanted to feel better. And so it took me a long time to even share that, about me being an alcoholic or going to recovery or any of that. But you know what? If I can share this and there's somebody out there that is like, oh my gosh, me too, like I want help too, then it's worth it.
Mm. Thank you for being so open and sharing your journey in that way, and admitting yourself that you need to change. Also being there with alcohol in a different sense of like needing it to get out of mental pain or challenges. So yeah, and I know the listener mail may not resonate, or they may know someone who's gone through that. So it's always powerful in telling that journey as well. So what helps you like redirect your focus? Is it kind of that gratitude? Is it that serving others? Did you find that help you away from the
Community.
mm,
Community is
community?
powerful. I think the opposite of addiction is connection.
Mm,
And not that you need community because you're addicted to something, but I think that it can even be lonely in the entrepreneurial journey. I mean, here we are podcasting, and I don't know how often you're in your office, but I'm in my office. We were talking about this when we first started recording. Like, I'm in my office so much that I have brought plants in here because I'm like, I need some nature in here.
mm,
But I have found that when we come together, that is how we're truly unstoppable. And when women, like, honestly, I love supporting women. So I've
mm,
got a mastermind for female entrepreneurs. And when we can come together and support each other and refer each other for jobs and help each other along and do podcast swaps, it's amazing. That is so fulfilling to me. And so I think that more than anything, it's community is what really helps no
mm,
matter what, with my sobriety, with my entrepreneurial journey, with everything I do.
mm, mm. You said a quote like when you just started sharing there about connection being the opposite of addiction. And I remember that being a quote from Eckhart Tolle that I remember always like remembering. So you just reminded.
Really?
Yeah, it's a quote. It's the power of now. I think it was in there, and he talks about
Oh, I have that book. I think I have that book.
he talks about the process of how he went from the lowest levels of consciousness of being really down and then that real struggling to higher up, and then he was saying I remember him coming up with that quote. So love what you said there
I
with
did
the
not
connection.
know that. Wow.
Wow, like minds, you and Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I know I have that book. I'm gonna find that book.
he You may have said it outside of that book, but I do remember reading that book. But I remember him saying that, so I love that. No, that's incredible. And I like what you said about like community and the fact that you've got a group around you. You've got a mastermind, I know, and it's the mastermind, the God Squad, or is that a support group?
Well,
That's
no, well, I would call them my God Squad, but no, I usually call them the Unstoppable Ladies, and
Unstoppable Ladies.
I'm really passionate about bringing women together and helping them craft their story to share with the world and then giving them a stage to share their story. So I do an annual event where I have huge speakers like this year's Trent Shelton, Renee
Wow.
Rodriguez, Brooke Hemingway, and then I take my mastermind members and they get time on stage to share their message. And I don't want to just like tell somebody, okay, this is how you share your story. I want to give them the platform and say, here, I want to see you shine. Get up on stage, and I'm going to give you pictures and video, and let's go bring the thunder and rock it. And so, yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Oh, that's awesome. With yeah, the power of masterminds, I love them. But yeah, the Unstoppable ladies love that. So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what a mastermind is for you and some of the benefits around it?
Well, you know what? I think it's important to keep growing and learning. And I'm in two different masterminds, but I have my own mastermind.
Yeah.
I have a mentor, but I mentor someone. I
Mm,
have a coach, and I coach several women and men. I think it's really important if you want to level up in your business to seek someone out, but make sure that it's a right fit for you. Because I've made a lot of mistakes where I have hired a coach that I thought was going to be a good fit and spent thousands of dollars, and it was money out the window. So I would highly suggest if you're going to be in a mastermind, it's great to have that connection and that community, but reach out to the other people in the mastermind and say, hey, what did this mastermind, how did it benefit you? What
mm,
are some things that you got out of the mastermind? Because I don't know about you, but I think there's like a lot of people that overpromise and underdeliver.
mm.
And I'm saying this because you know what? My husband and I just did our taxes today. And he's like, um, Amberly, you made no money with your mastermind. And I'm being completely transparent with you. I love these women so much. And I know I got to be smarter. I got to be smarter. This isn't the best thing. But I want to give them video. So I hire a videographer for them. I hire a photographer for them. I rent out a stage. I put on an event. And you know what? Some of these women that have been in the mastermind, their whole speaking career just exploded because they had that first chance on stage.
Mm.
So to me, that's worth it. I got to explain to my husband why it's worth it, all that money. But to me, it's worth it. It's just such a big passion of mine.
Power of giving, just over delivering on that value. And so there's some good advice as well. I personally picked up what you said there about reaching out to members and looking at stories of other people. If you're a little bit unsure whether that's a coach or mastermind as well, because yeah, there is some greatness in the world, but there's sometimes things that are not meant for you. So that's a
Yeah,
really good principle.
have you experienced that? Because I sure have, where I spent thousands,
Yeah.
and I was like, I should have asked more questions. Has that ever
Mm.
happened to you?
Yeah, I think it's the yeah, I have not in a not horrendously, but in a sense of like probably wasn't the best move when maybe it was like an expensive course and it was like the instinctive, well, not the instinctive, but the emotional feeling of like, oh, this is really good, sounds really good, and perhaps I wasn't engaging with the logical mind, and it's always for me important to do both. It's always the logic and how it feels that I've
Hmm.
learned over time to really like understand. I'm also a big believer personally of like what's the result, like you said, what's the results of people in the group, but also what's the results of the person leading it. It's like, have they got the results? Because Like I've hired a men's coach for like dating and things like that, and he's in a happy, loving marriage. I don't want someone, on that in that area just talking theory out of a textbook to me. So I'm always looking at experience as well. I think that's what's really helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or like in
Yeah.
business, want to make sure that they've got a successful business as well, not someone who's just read a few books about business. So,
Yeah, because there's a lot of that out there. And, the mistake that I made was I actually invested with a coach who a friend of mine really was like, oh, you've got to work with this coach. He was amazing. He tripled my business, blah, blah, blah. Well, I found out later the reason she was referring him so much is because she was making a commission. So I don't ever refer people on a commission. I refer people because I know and love them and trust them. And that's another reason that I started a mastermind is I've made so many mistakes. And I know this interview is not making me sound like the smartest businesswoman, is it? But I've made so many mistakes and I've learned from them. And I figure if I can help other women from the mistakes that I've made, they don't have to make them.
mm, yeah, it's a very good way of looking at that kind of not making sure they're not going down that route as well. Love it, Amberly. So, Amberly, I want to just ask you like one more thing because you've shared quite a lot of stage time with some people like we said earlier, like Lewis Howes, Mel Robbins, and various people. Is there, there's many things in like people's psychology and their way they act, but is there maybe like one thing that you've noticed as that's been a standout trait of these high performers, these people really out there spreading their message that maybe you could share with us?
Um, I don't know. I think everybody's
Mm,
different.
mm,
Um, I can't say what works for others, what might work for me. I know that I had to really get specific and intentional about my time.
mm,
And I have an amazing an assistant that is amazing now.
mm.
And it's the first time I've ever had this in my life where she will go in and she blocks off my calendar.
Oh, that's
Like
good.
she runs my calendar. And from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning, that's my time to journal and pray and work out and do my morning routine. After that is all administrative work. There are only so many hours throughout the day that I'm on interviews or doing calls, and she is hardcore. And she's like, there was one day I was trying to like change something to my calendar, and I was like, why won't this work? And it was because she had blocked that off in my calendar as there are no calls during that time on my calendar. And that helps. And so I think that like really deciding what you need to move the needle in your health, in your
Mm,
business, in your life, what are your non-negotiables? And then honoring that time. Whether, look, my assistant gets on me because look, look this calendar.
wow.
I write it all out here. And she's on me. She's like, Amberly, put it in your calendar on the computer. But I have gotten to where I'm like really strategic about when I'm working out, when I'm going to bed, how much sleep I'm getting, how many calls I'm taking. And that really helps me.
Mm. Being very intentional with your time and also what I picked out there was having support and a team with skill sets to support you as well, and knowing you don't have to do it alone. So I like that. Yeah, blocking out time being a big game changer for me. So yeah, Amberly, I really appreciate you coming on today, and I know there's a ton more you offer the world in terms of what you're doing, your messages. I know you're out there on your website, on social media as well. Before we wrap up today, be really interesting to hear if there's maybe a final point you want to share with us or leave us with today. Anything we've talked about, or maybe something else. And where can the listener find you and find your books if they want to know more about them?
I would say reach out to me. My favorite thing to do is to connect
Hmm.
with people. That's why I love speaking at events. That's the best thing about my whole book journey with my first book, True Grit and Grace, and now this next book. It's that connection piece. So reach out to me. You can email me. My personal email is amberly@amberlylago.com. Reach out to me. Let's take a screenshot and hey, you post this and tag me on Instagram and tag, you know, what do you want them to tag your show or your personal?
We can tag my personal because the show's linked on there as well. It's just
Okay.
Johnny C Pardo. Yeah.
Okay. We'll do it. Let's show Johnny some love. And I just want you to know if you're struggling right now, that hope is available, change is possible, and joy is absolutely possible. And it's just upon, just decide to build upon it. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome, and thank you for being on here with us. I love that closing message as well. That joy's there, and it's the way. And you've given us some really insightful ways of thinking and perspectives for the listener today, and myself. I particularly like the what you said about the gratitude and reaching out and sharing it with people. So I think that's something I'm going to add to my routine. So once again, Amberly, a big thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So that concludes our episode for today. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.